What's going on, guys? In this video we are going to be fixing every single thing that's still wrong with my Civic. So since the last video, I think I said the airbag was the only thing left that I had to work on the car, getting the airbag light to go off and getting the second passenger airbag to go on. There's actually a few more things that I have to do. My shift boot's ruined, so I got a new shift boot. We're gonna put that in. I'm also gonna install that center console that I cleaned and epoxied the crack in it, so that's good to go. We're gonna do the airbag thing that I mentioned. We're also going to fix the front speakers, maybe. One of them is not working at all and the other one cuts in and out, so I know I can fix the one that's cutting in and out. The one that's not working, I don't know, I might end up having to get new speakers. So if we have to, then we'll do that. Probably not in this video, but whatever. Then the last thing that's wrong with this car, mechanically, is the rear defroster doesn't work, because when I bought this car, it had a whole bunch of like that bubbling purple window tint, and I removed it, and it was the worst thing I've ever removed in my life. I've removed window tint, you know, multiple times before. It's usually pretty simple. Sometimes it's a little bit harder. This was like absolutely the worst. I'm pretty sure it was installed when the car was brand new, and then it was on the car for 16 years by the time I removed it, and we had to use a razor blade. I was super careful, but still managed to like nick probably every single one of the I think every single one of the defroster lines except for one. I think one is the only one that works. So I bought a repair kit for that. I don't know how well it's gonna work. We're gonna try to repair the grid on that rear window. If I can't, I'm not buying a new window. I'm just gonna not have a rear defroster. I drive this car mostly in the summer anyway. So, but I'm gonna give it a shot because I have the stuff to do it, and I would like to have a 100% mechanically sound car. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing we're gonna start with repairing is the airbag light. We want the airbag to go off for our passengers. Just because I chose to be unsafe doesn't mean the people riding in my car have to be unsafe as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull off this wheel. And I don't think I gotta take this hub off. We should be able to get to the wires without taking this off. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this plastic off here. There's just a few screws, 3 I think. Yeah, 3 screws. All right. So that's off. The sides have to separate, and the fronts also have to separate. I can't remember exactly. You either have to push on the top or push on the bottom. I've already broken this in a few spots, so I don't really care. So I'm just going to kind of work with it until it comes apart. Looks like you got to push on the bottom. And then probably the same thing on the side over here. Oh, I lost a screw. Here it is. Well, I just broke that one too, so kind of sucks. A little annoying that they don't really make this easy to take apart. I believe you just push on the bottoms like that and then they'll come out, but you'll probably end up breaking them like I did. Here's my little ghetto horn wiring. It's speaker wire. Here's the airbag wiring right here. So all we gotta do is cut away this black, and then there's a yellow and green wire in here, and we just have to put a resistor in between those 2 wires, and then we'll be good to go. So I am going to kind of pull it down to give myself a little more room to work. Let me pull this down and separate this, and I'm gonna go get my resistors, and I'll tell you what kind they were. And I'm also going to get some soldering iron and some heat shrink so that we can get that taken care of, as well as some wire strippers. So here are the resistors. They are 2.2 ohm, quarter watt, 5% tolerance. I bought 100 of them. They were like $3.50 or something like that on eBay. Next thing that we're going to do is cut back a bunch of this. Alright, now I'm going to put one of these on there, because before I solder it and make it permanent, I want to make sure that it actually works. I believe there might be some sort of reset that has to be done, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a shot and see what happens. Hopefully that airbag doesn't go off for some reason. Yeah, it's still on, so I believe it has to be reset. I gotta figure out how to reset that. Alright, I did some research to try to figure out how to reset this thing. So I'm gonna have to put the resistor back on here between these two connections. And then down here, you have this connector. You'll have to take this guy off. To get this guy off, you just have 1, 2, 3 screws, and then it pulls off. And then down here, that's where it plugged in. Right there, that connector. See how there's no pins in it? It's to the upper right of the fuse box. That's how you know that's the right connector. There's no pins in it. It's just a dummy connector. And this was plugged in there, so you want to unplug this. And then you're gonna have 2 paper clips coming out of here, but separated, that you can touch together. And what you wanna do is, while you have the resistor on there, you're gonna turn the keys forward. And then when the airbag light comes on down there, you're gonna touch the paper clips together. When the airbag light goes off, you separate them. And it'll come back on, touch them together, and then it'll go off, separate them. And then after about 4 seconds, it'll flash twice, and that will mean that it's reset. And then we should be able to go ahead and solder this on. It will continue to recognize it, that there's an airbag in the system. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset that right now. Alright, so this isn't working for me. I think it could potentially be to the fact that I don't have the original ECU in here. I have the OBD1 conversion for my turbo. So I'm going to go ahead and put the old ECU back in and try this again and see what happens. And I'll let you guys know. I'm going to kind of do some stuff off camera to save time. So if you look now, you can see the airbag light is actually off. That was my fault. When I put the steering wheel in, I took out the airbag fuse just to be safe. And I never put the fuse back in, so there was no airbag fuse in there. That's what my problem was. Once I put the airbag fuse in, I was able to reset the system using the paperclip method that you saw earlier. The reason the airbag light's not on is because I actually unplugged this cable and stuck the resistor in the back here, just like that. So you actually don't have to do any soldering or anything like that. You just stick the resistor in this connector, the one that runs up into here, and then just electrical tape it, and that'll be good. Alright, so because I like doing things more of a professional way and the other way stopped working already, I think the connection came undone when I put everything back together. I redid it, and this time we're doing it this way. I'm going to undo this one end. We're going to solder this end, put some heat shrink over it, solder this end, and then heat shrink over the whole thing. And then it's going to be like a way more professional finish. Alright, so I don't have too much time right now, so I'm just going to finish up this part and then I'll pick back up with you guys a little bit later. But if I can get it to focus, you will be able to see. There we go. So you can see that's heat shrinked right now, and there is a resistor right here in the end. And the leads are folded down. So that's done up well, and the airbag fix is working. I turned the keys forward, the airbag light's off. So now I'm just going to go ahead and put everything back together. I fixed my little horn plug here so that the horn can plug in right there. And yeah, now we're going to go ahead and just put everything back together. Alright, so we're going to get rid of this crusty shift boot. This thing's nasty. Ever since I got it, because I spilled coffee all over it, and you can't fix suede after you spill coffee all over it. So we're going to take out the center console, we're going to replace the shift boot, and we're going to put like an actual center console back this way that I got. And this is fairly simple to take apart. There's just a few screws holding it in. There's 2. You can see this one. I think this other one over here is off camera, but there's 2 screws on each side of this front piece, and then there's this screw right here and one on the other side. The actual center consoles have screws further back, but this one that comes in the DX does not. It only has these 2 screws. So my center console I don't think is going to be screwed in the back at all. But what we're going to do first is just go ahead and take out all 6 screws. 3 on both sides, or 3 on each side. Alright. Got all the screws out. Looks like the back has to come off first. Like that. And the front can just lift off, I believe. There we go. Now we just gotta take the shift knob off so we can get it over the top. What's funny is the color change here. You can see it's like pink down there and red up at top. I'm actually gonna be covering this whole thing now. I'm gonna be mounting the shift boot, the new one, up like that. But anyway, just go ahead and pull all this off. Alright, now underneath, to get the shift boot off at this point, you can see there's 2 screws right there. You can see there's one right there and one over there. I'm going to go ahead and take those off and pull the shift boot out. Alright, now it looks like this just pulls over these tabs to come out. Before I take this out, let's make sure that the new one has these. It is supposedly meant for my car. It's from 6-Speed. 6-Speed, not sponsored in any way. And it does have the little tabs for mounting, so that's perfect. It's suede. This one actually has 4 red stitchings. The other one that I had did not, so that's pretty cool. We're gonna go ahead and pull this guy out the rest of the way and put the new one on.
Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Watch you bend that back for me. We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me.
Alright, we got it all on. So here's the old one. Here's the new one. Looks much better. And we're going to go ahead and pop it in the car. But first, I'm going to try to find a nut that fits on those threads that can go underneath the top here to hold this up. And then the shift knob can thread onto the other end of that nut, kind of. You'll see. So I figured out what I'm going to do with this. So if we push that down, if we take this off and we thread this on all the way, it's not going to be facing up and down like that. It's going to be facing like that. And to fix that, what I'm doing is I'm threading this on there, and then I'm just going to end up backing it off a little bit and then threading this on. And you kind of got to play with it. There we go. Sort of something like that. And we're going to tighten them together. And then this comes up over top that nut like that. And then there's going to be a zip tie underneath here holding this up. Or 2 zip ties. 1 or 2. I'm not entirely sure yet. But we're going to have zip ties holding that up. And so basically what's going to happen is we're going to put the center console in, but don't bolt it in all the way. Put this nut on, get this situated, then lift the center console back up so we can put a zip tie underneath. And then everything will be perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and do that.
I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip locking with you. I know it, you know it.
I accidentally knocked down my camera filming, but wow, you can really see how dirty this seat is in that light. Anyway, here is the armrest. That's in now. And come over there, and that's the new shift boot. And the shift pattern is facing in the right direction now. It's nice and tight. And looks really good. My floor is super dirty. I can't really show too much of this because I'm going to be playing music and it might get copywritten. But these guys pull off, and I can't remember how. I want to say like that, I guess. And then next, we're going to pull these out. And I kind of want to show you what happens with speakers in Civics. So the seals on the doors leak in Civics. Even if you get OEM ones, they're still going to leak. So you don't really want to put expensive speakers in here because the back side of them will rust. And ignore what I just said because this one's not rusty. I guess just the other side is, and that's the side I didn't replace. Alright, I'm going to play some music and see if I can figure out what's wrong with this one. So on both sides, the issue seems to be with this piece right here. So I have them plugged into here because there's not much, you know, wire right there to plug into the speakers. So I extended it, but these connectors on the end are like really bad, really loose, really bad. I'm actually just going to replace them with better connectors. And then we're going to spray some electrical cleaner in these 4 red connectors right here before we put it all back together. And I'm just going to do that on both sides. Alright, so I didn't really show it, but both speakers are working now. And what I'm doing now is working on the defroster here, trying to get it to work. So I'm finding out where the broken spots are, marking them with this blue tape. The way I have of doing it is, I was trying to use this multimeter, but it's not really working very well. So what I'm doing instead is I have 2 test lights. This will only let me find up to 2 breaks in each line, but it's a good start. So you can start from like the end of your line right here, and there's already a break in that one somewhere. If we go down to the end, you can see it lights up there, and then the break's like all the way over here somewhere. Wow, okay. Yeah, the break is right there. Okay, so then what you do after you find the break is you can mark it, and then I have this test light hooked up to the power, and you go after the break and see if it completes the connection. So the break is right there at the beginning. I'm going to go after it and see if it lights up. It lights up after the break. That tells me that's the only break in this line. If it didn't light up, then I'd have to start from that end and come down until I figured out where this didn't light up. There's another break there. Then I know there's those 2 breaks in the line. And then to find the ones in between, like I did on this one, I found 2 in between. I took this piece of wire and completed the connection. It's not very good. It doesn't work very well, but it's enough to kind of get an idea where the rest of the brakes are. I might end up not being able to find all the brakes and just have to repair some of them and then try doing the rest of them later. But so far, this will get me by and I'll get a lot of them repaired. Okay, so I've gone through and I've marked every single spot that has a broken line that I could find. There's actually 1 line that is working, and then there's 1 down here that I didn't mark anything on, this 3rd from the bottom, and that is because the brake is behind the brake light. So I would have to take off this panel to get to that. And in this car, in order to take off that panel, you have to take out the seats completely, and then you have to take off this panel. And to take off this panel, you have to take off the inside floor panel right here on this side, I believe. That might not actually be true. You might not have to take that one off, but I think you do. But you do have to take the seats out, so you have to take off that panel too, and this panel, and then you can get that center panel out. I've had to do it before. I took that out when I removed the window tint, and you know, I'm not worried about 1 line in front of the brake light, so I just want to be able to see out my back window if I drive it in the cold. But other than that, I think I have all of them marked. There might be 1 or 2 in the center here that I can't find, that I won't be able to find until I fix the outer ones. So basically we're just going to go ahead and fix all of these spots, and then in a couple days I'll check again and see if there's any more that I can find. What's up, guys? I know this is mid-video and you haven't gotten a video from me in a while. I've just been working on a lot of stuff outside of YouTube, so I do apologize for that. We just cleaned up a lot of the garage today. It's really awesome. I'm going to go ahead and show you some stuff. So right here, this is my toolbox. This used to be a huge mess. It was actually my dad's toolbox, and he gave it to me, and it has it had all of his old stuff in there as well as a lot of my stuff. But now we just kind of put all of his old stuff. We got like this junk drawer right here, so that's all in there, and then the rest of it has just my stuff in it. So in the top drawer, we just got some like little hand tools, these little pick things, and then got my socket drawer. And then these are random nuts and bolts. This is the electronics stuff. And down here, we got like my grinder and all my grinder stuff. And then some miscellaneous vacuum and brake stuff. JB Weld. My injector cleaner little kit. And now, we got this cart. Got the grease gun down on there, but we cleaned the cart off. Besides this, so that we can actually use this when we're working on cars. We cleaned off the workbench so we can actually work on stuff. And then I got a trickle charger for my car now because the battery dies after it sits for like 2 weeks. So we are, making progress on little things here. I just got like 2 more things to fix in here. I want to fix the dash bulbs and the dome lights still. That's going to get fixed. And then over here, we do have my rear disc brake swap, and that is going to go in very soon. So I'm getting pretty excited. I'm going to come out here tomorrow because it's actually going to be fun to work in here now that we got room. And I'm going to get those lights done so we can move on to the brakes. What's up, guys? It's the next day and I'm about to get started working on this car, get some bulbs changed out. But before I do so, I've kind of been toying around the idea of getting some merch. I actually custom ordered myself a pop socket with like a little design that I made. There's the end of the pop socket. It's one of the removable ones. The actual back is on my phone. But yeah, so that's what it looks like. That's what the design looks like. I have, if I can get it to focus. So that's the design right there. Now that's not, pop sockets aren't really like available for resale. You can't really make custom ones and sell them from what I understand. But I was thinking about maybe that design for a shirt or maybe some stickers. I also have the rear end of the car, and I'll show you guys that later. So I've been kind of toying around the idea of that. Right now I feel like my videos don't get enough views for me to sell anything. But maybe comment if you'd be interested. And once my views start to pick up a little bit, once I pull the motor out and things like that, I'm sure everything will pick back up a little bit. And then maybe I'll put a poll out to see if anybody would be interested in that. And I would definitely consider making, stickers, t-shirts, maybe sweatshirts, but I don't know, that's kind of expensive. But let me know what you think. Let's get started though. I just want to say that it is a miracle that I got this thing out without breaking anything. I didn't break a single clip or lose a single screw. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and start taking this apart. Looks like there's just 4 screws holding this climate control area on. We got to get to the light bulbs inside, so we got to pull this off. So I just wanted to show this really quick because I may have just wasted not a whole ton of time, but a little bit of time. So here's where the bulbs are right here. And they just pull out of these sockets, and you can totally reach this from underneath. So I mean, you do still kind of have to rip the whole dash apart. So you still gotta, pull the glove box down, take the 2 screws out in the glove box, the 2 screws under the center panel, that side panel under the steering wheel, and the 2 screws on there, and pull out the center panel. But you don't have to pull out the radio. You don't have to undo the 2 extra screws. And I mean, it's really like maybe 5 minutes more work to get this whole thing out and make it a little bit easier to work on. But you do risk, breaking these clips when you pull it out. Luckily I didn't break any, so we're all good. But I got the bulbs out. They're these little guys right here. They got like this blue shielding on them to make them like a cooler color. Not as warm of a color. So I might have to reuse those little blue shielding things, but I'm going to try to get these bulbs. I don't know exactly what size they are, but I'm going to see if they have anything like this at the auto parts store. I also wanted to show that I pulled the dome light down. So easy to change. There's just this little thing right here, this screw that goes up into there. And that's the only thing that holds us in. So I just took that screw out. This whole thing popped down, unplug it, and I'm gonna go get another one from the junkyard because the switch is busted. So for those of you who don't know, this is one of the bulbs that was in there. You can see it's burnt out. Here's the other one. They have these blue covers over them, and the new bulbs, I got 74s. That's the closest in size that you can get from the auto parts store. They are a tiny bit bigger, but they do fit. And these blue things, they come off of these bulbs, and you can slide them over here. They stretch enough to fit over top of these bulbs. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this over, put it in here. I already have one done, and then I'm going to put this back in the car. Check it out. Got new Blizzak WS80s for the FRS, so I can do some, you know, some little snow drifts. That'll be fun. And I don't have to crash into people. Those tires that come on that car are horrible. So now I'm going to go ahead and get the climate control put back in. So you can see I have it right here. So I tested it. The bulbs light up. They're really dim, but they do light up, and I think I like it dim. So I'll maybe try to show you a little bit once it gets dark out. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Ooh, look at that. Now if you come in here, you can see I have lights in here. Now I know I said that they were dim. They're actually not. They were just, that's what they looked like before, but the dimmer was just turned down. So that's what they look like fully lit up. Got my dash lights, got my under dash lights. I'm pretty happy. And now all we gotta do is finish that dome light. I actually figured what was wrong with it, or figured out what was wrong with it. So I'm gonna show you guys that. So here's the dome light, and it has these things right here that make contact. Here's the slider switch right here. It kind of slides down and hits these, and it creates, you know, it completes the circuit. And when I would push up on the switch, it would actually make connection and work just fine. So what I think is going on is down here, these metal pieces are supposed to be kind of like pressed down, and they're pushed down by this plastic piece right here. Those little tabs on it, go in there and push those down, and I don't think they're doing their job very well. So what I'm going to do is actually take out all these metal, flip them over and clean right here, just to make sure it's a clean surface. And then I'm going to bend them so they're kind of bowed down in the middle here. And then I'm going to hot glue them right here on the end. And then stick this back on, put it in the car, and I'm pretty sure it'll work 100%. Alright, so now it's all bowed down in here and cleaned up. I kind of messed it up a little bit because I tried to pop this out, but I went the wrong way with it and almost screwed up the dome light, but I think it's still good. As you can see, I did the hot glue thing right here to hold them down, and then I put this piece back on, and I think it's going to work now. I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. All right, and here it is all finished. Got the door open right now, so that's why it's on in this setting. But no more, like, I used to have to jiggle it like this to get the light to come on. Same thing in this. It worked a little better in this position, but this position it almost didn't work at all. And you can see I'm pushing on this. There's no flickering or anything. It's perfect. So that's all it was. Just had to clean up those connections and bend them a little bit. Pretty nice. Now I got a working dome light. I got working dash lights. I got a working rear defroster. I got like everything that used to kind of bug me about this car. I can pop the hood now without pliers. It's awesome. So now the Civic is 100% mechanically sound, except for the motor burning oil. But other than that, this car doesn't have a single problem. I'm going to be rebuilding the motor, I'm upgrading the brakes now, and this car is going to be awesome. We just have to, the only other problems that there are with the car aren't mechanical. They're just like there's a dent in the hood, so I got to get a new hood and replace that. The bumper needs to be repainted. A couple different things need to be repainted. This car is going to be 100% at some point or really close, but for right now, it is 100% mechanically sound. All the stupid stuff that was wrong with it, that I always have wrong with all my cars and I just don't care about it, is all fixed, and it's just going to be super nice to drive around now. So I love that kind of stuff. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this somewhat long journey. I feel like this is a long video. I guess we'll find out. I just wanted to get all this stupid stuff in one video, so the next videos can be a little bit more fun for you guys. All right, well, thank you for watching, and peace out.